Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Focus on Photography, the podcast with Rusty Brown. I'm Rusty, extremely excited to have you guys here today for another episode. Today, I've titled the episode, What is Your Why? Right? A specific question, and we're gonna unpack it a little bit. What is your why? Now, as a point of reference, I'm getting this from a really good YouTuber, a really good photographer. Her name is Lucy Lumen. If you don't follow her, I've got a link to her YouTube channel here in the show notes. Lucy is in Australia and she's a really good photographer. And about a year ago, she posted a video about where to post your images. And she did a really good job of breaking down all these different places that photographers can go to post their images and what to expect from them because different ones have different types of audiences and things of that nature. But in that particular YouTube broadcast, when she was helping those to understand the differences between those different places to post their work, she said you got to start off by understanding what is your why. Why are you posting that image and why does it matter to you where it goes in terms of avenues? And that if you can understand the why of the post, it would help you with the where to post it. That got me to thinking that we could take Lucy's question and back it all the way out to the origins of photography. And that's what I'm trying to do here today. I want to talk about what is your why for photography, not for posting like in Lucy's case, but again, what is your why? Um, I think this question is equally as important to photography in general, right? And if you stay to the end, hopefully you'll have a better understanding of what I'm talking about, but I'll tell you what my personal why is. So when we talk about what is your why, I'm talking about, why are you here in this space? Why are you here with photography? What do you want from photography? And what are you willing to put into it, you know, to get out of it, whatever it is that you're looking for. So let's look at one example. And I hear this frequently. Um, Folks come to this platform to photography because they heard that photography is a great place to make money. This is a money-making opportunity, and that as a professional photographer, you can make good money. That part of it, I have no issue with. I know a lot of professional photographers that do an amazing job and they make good money, but it took them a while to get there. And that's one of the things that I hope to kind of break down here. So let's say, okay, that's awesome. You want to be a pro photographer and that's your why. Then I would ask you, how do you stand up a legitimate photography business without being an experienced photographer? This isn't necessarily a chicken and the egg thing. One clearly comes before the other. And far too often, I see people getting into the space that they clearly think they want to be in without putting in the work to be there. So let's run with this for a minute. So you're here because you want to make money, and you're just starting off. Secondly, do you already have a business degree? Do you have a degree in business already? Or is that also something that you have to get good at while becoming a master photographer at the same time? I mean, after all, why would anyone hire you, right? There are so many different types of photography. Which would you be prepared to master when you come here and say you want to be a pro, right? Because the type of photography dictates a lot of different things. And when we talk about types, I mean they're probably too numerous for me to mention all of them. But what comes to mind for me is like wedding photography, headshots, portraiture, sports, photojournalism, wildlife, landscape, fashion, real estate, models. The list goes on and on and on, but each type has a different set of requirements. Each type requires a different photographic skill set, and each type requires different types of gear. And those three things don't always intertwine with one another. So you simply can't buy a bunch of good photography gear show up in any of the aforementioned genres and think you'll be paid. You won't, right? And who is your audience, right? Who are your customers when you decide I'm coming into this space and I'm going to be a pro, again, for who? Um, there was a really good movie, one of our favorites here in the Brown household called The Untouchables. In it, Sean Connery, plays a salty old beat cop, and he's probably the toughest one of the Untouchables. And there comes a time because of different situations that go on in the movie where he asks his teammates, I'm sorry, what are you prepared to do? And that's what I'm asking you here. So rolling with the great actor Sean Connery in that movie, The Untouchables, what are you prepared to do to conquer the requirements of the genre, right? How far are you willing to go to rise above average, right? So if your why is to make money, you must first address these things, but understand that even if you put the work in, right? You do the things necessary. You put the time in to get better. You take thousands of shots, each one leading to a better one and a better one. You master your camera in such a way that you can operate every function of it without hesitation, that you can do all of those things and still not make money here, right? So the flip side of that, and something that's more along, the reasons that I'm here, um, I would say would be artistic, expression, right? An expansion of my hobby. If you follow me on any type of platform, I talk about that frequently. That I'm a hobbyist, so the artistic expression that I get to do through photography helps expand my hobby, which for me means the study of photography. It means the study of other photographers. So hopefully you get a sense there that to study something means that I'm putting time in. You're going to have to put some time in, and I was really, really okay with that because for me, it's about capturing imagery of things that I'm interested in with a higher degree of detail. And you may say, okay, a higher degree of detail than what? And I would say than a phone could get you, right? I want to nail a specific type of photograph, no matter the genre that I'm good at, in the highest technical degree possible that I know that image did not come from a phone. For me, it's about documenting. I use my photography to document my personal journey, whether it's history, whether it's travel, family, or whatever. I'm using my knowledge of photography to do those things. And here's the thing for me, at the core of it, photography for the joy of it is at the center of what I do, not as a revenue source. Now, yes, I do get paid for photography. I've gotten paid for photography for quite a while, but I'm not a pro photographer, and there's a huge difference. You know what I mean? As a hobbyist, people see me doing things. I've delivered images to people, and that leads to questions like, "Hey, could you do this or could you do that?" And the beauty of that is, that I get to say, yes, or I get to say no. You know what I mean? So it's not. I don't do this for a revenue source, but there is times that I do get paid for that, right? Now, here's the thing. No matter the why, you should definitely be able to articulate it because understanding your why drives you to your success, right? And again, your specific why can be whatever you want because it's yours, right? And photography can be extremely rewarding if we understand our why. I'm not talking about the why of others, not the why of all the folks you follow on Instagram or YouTube, but our individual why. Because one thing you have to be considerate of, and you may know this already. If you don't, I hate to break it to you, but photography is expensive. It's expensive no matter the why. You can be a hobbyist like me, it's going to cost you at some point. If you're going to be a pro, it's going to cost you a lot more. So it's expensive, and to be in this space, right, without a core understanding of why is going to lead to a loss of interest. It's going to lead to poor quality photographs. It's going to lead to wasted money on gear and equipment. It's going to lead to wasted time, from chasing something because you see somebody else doing it and you assume you can do it as they can. And it's going to lead to dissatisfaction, right? So photography, as a discipline is flooded with both amazing and terrible photographers, meaning this space that we're in right here, this space that we're talking about is it's extremely saturated space. And that's not, I'm not saying that to be negative in any way at all. What I'm saying is there are tons and tons of really top-notch photographers, and there's a lot of wannabe photographers and folks that don't take the time and put the work in, and they're equally as bad as the others are good, right? So to understand our individual why means that we truly aren't here for the others. We're here because we're passionate about photography, right? We're proud of what we've done, both in the process of becoming good photographers and the works that we've made. You know what I mean? So to that end, understanding your why leads to successful photography because it's the foundation of the road that you're going to take to achieve all of your goals. It's going to ensure your happiness with photography, right? And, like I alluded to a moment ago, I mean, here's the thing. It doesn't matter, the why. You've got to put the work in. Pro, hobbyist, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to put the work in before you get anything out of this amazing medium, that we call photography. Talking about me and let's get into my why. It really starts from my love of pictures, right? I've always loved pictures. I get lost looking at a photo book and photo books of other photographers, famous, non-famous. I love looking at pictures, and I can do it for hours on end, and often I do. And as I got older, I wondered what it would take for me to capture an image of something that I like at the highest level possible, So I put in the time and the energy and the work and the practice, to find out. Now, my love of pictures led me to photography, where now my love of photography is equal to my love of pictures. You understand? So I'm going to give you a couple of examples, and the one that I'm going to start off with now, for those of you that are watching the podcast, you'll see this. For those that are just listening, I'll try to explain what I'm talking about. But I'm going to show an image here of the moon, and this is an example of what I'm talking about, right? So this is 2 years ago. Let me see when this was taken, right? So this is July 2024 at 1:23 a.m. So it's July, it's early morning, late at night. I'm out on the deck, like I am most nights in the summer, watching a movie or catching up on a TV series on the laptop, having a drink and a cigar. So I look up and the sky is so clear and the moon is almost like it's right there, and I just hadn't seen it like that. So I stopped what I was doing, came in the house, grabbed a camera and a tripod, and I started thinking about astrophotography, but I didn't have time to look anything up. I was in my relaxed mode at this point, but something about seeing that moon gave me the idea that I could try to capture it. So, first few shots, I had it on the tripod, and I remember thinking from something that I had read, oh, you got to do a long exposure, etc., and make that work. Now, I did have my remote control, so I know how to do a long exposure shot. But the first few shots were too bright, oddly enough. So that meant that you know, um, I had the shutter speed was too slow. It was open too long and it was letting in too much light. So at some point I said, okay, I'm just going to have to go with my gut on this. And if you look at this image here, I ended up going with an ISO of 800. I was maxed out on my 70 to 200, right? But I was at f20. 20, mind you, I can only go up to f22. So it wasn't until a couple of days later when I got the images off the card and put them on the computer, and uh, I was blown away. I didn't see this when I actually took the shots. I saw them when I got on the computer, and when I looked at it, I could see the detail of the moon. I could see stars around the moon. Again, um, it wasn't my intention when I went out there to take pictures like this, but this is an example of what I mean when I'm saying capturing something that was important to me. Now, I do print a lot. I have a Canon Pro 1000 printer here, and I have prints up in the office. But when I want a no fooling professional print, I use a company called Whitewall out of Germany. I took this image and sent it to them to have it professionally printed, and it came back and it's got the rails on the back. And today, this image, it hangs in our home. When you come into the house downstairs, and this is what I mean when I say, love of photography and the hobby. This to me is an amazing image. I didn't take it to sell it. I didn't take it to make money off of it. I took it because I was looking at it and thought I can actually make that happen. To that end, I'm currently working on a project, another book, and it's called Me and My Camera. And this is the first book that I've done that doesn't have a theme. You know what I mean? So if you look at any of my other books, my first one was about family. That was a theme. I did another book about gamers and people wearing jeans and dresses. That was a theme. More recently, I did a book about tattoos and stilettos and sneakers. That was a theme. But the book that's going to get released in 2027 called Me and My Camera doesn't have a theme. It features images like this, things that I've taken over the years that have blown me away, that are only important to me. And I'll scroll through a couple of these to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. And it may take a while. I hope that the video, for those of you that are watching, I hope it renders properly and you can get the justice that I get from it. This image that I took of a cigar, so these ones that I'm showing you right now are contenders to go in that book called Me and My Camera. I have not made the selections yet. Um, Same thing here, me and some friends, getting together. Again, as you can see so far, there is no rhyme or reason. The moonshot has nothing to do with these fine gentlemen trying to play pickleball, right? Or the previous shot of a cigar, or of this shot on a roof downtown Richmond, looking at the other buildings with a model in the foreground. Um, this was another one that blew me away. I was trying to keep the eagle in the viewfinder, and I was able to nail it again. Wasn't sure I got it until I got home and got it on the computer. Got two really good shots of this guy as he was coming right at me, and he was literally looking at me. Right, again, these shots have no connection to one another. Here's one of sports, right? Of uh, a critical moment in this young man's career. And if you look at the image, for me, what makes it isn't so much the power of the dunk, but look carefully at the people. There's an assistant coach down here in the bottom right here who he's yelling. Over here, he's got teammates, that are like, wow. But look at the fans. You got a guy here that's like, oh my goodness, little kid back here saying the same thing. The expressions of people in the shot, to include the kid on the other team who's fading away, I was able to get that shot yet again. Wasn't sure that I would get it until after I got home and looked at that. These think they're called pink roseate spoonbills. I probably screwed that up, but getting close enough to these birds to capture them was crazy good for me. You know what I mean? And these are all shots that I've taken over a period of time that, while they don't have anything to do with each other, I'm impressed with my ability to get those shots. Whether it's, Osprey here. This one was a story. The osprey lost the fish. The fish is literally inches from getting back into the water, but there's a pelican sitting right here waiting. And when this, I don't have the whole sequence here, although I did capture it. I think I put it up on Instagram. And in this particular one, the fish hit the water, thought he was good. The pelican swallowed him whole. That's just the way the ecosystem works. But here, being able to get imagery like where you can literally see the water coming out of the fish's mouth as he got caught and the osprey is going away. Same thing here. The fish is fighting, with everything that it's got. And this is, life taking life. And looking at the image itself, though, if you look at the clarity of the fish, of the raptor, and the background all blurred out, these are shots that meant a lot to me, and being able to get them was critically important. This one will be in the book, one of my all-time favorites. I followed the bird. He literally plucked them off the deck. And if you look carefully at the fish, you can see the holes on the bottom where he had him and let him get away, but he got him back. And here's the thing, this fish is bigger than the body of the raptor, and that's just how strong the talons are. So he was able to get him. And if you notice, he only has him with the left talon. He doesn't have him with the right. And he fights hard to clear the deck. But looking at the the accuracy of the image does it for me as well. The aquamarine color of the water, the rocks all blurred out, but the two subjects are clean in my frame. And then lastly, to have him basically do a flyby for me once he had him, he circled around and literally came overhead, and I was able to get that shot, of him coming back and doing that. So when I talk about the joy of photography, that's what I'm talking about, right? That's the beauty of it in terms of understanding your why. And it's not everybody's why, right? But that's mine. So now you fast forward to today, portraits, fashion, events, models, sports, landscapes, wildlife, travel, astrophotography. I can do all of these now, right? I can do all of them. And, 12, 14 years ago, that was not the case. I can do them all, but I don't do them for money. I don't do them for likes. I literally do them for the love of this medium, for the love of photography, you know. And for me, there's something special about seeing an image that I took and knowing everything that went into that image, right? And I do print a lot of my own work, right? And I still find myself sometimes marveling at how far I've come. I surround myself with images that I've taken, right? So as an example, just here, I have several monitors up. They're all 32-inch IPS monitors, but the wallpaper, I have a rotating wallpaper system. Every image that pops up through the course of the wallpaper, every image is something that I've taken. And again, like the upcoming book, me and my camera, they have nothing to do with each other, but it's an image that I'm proud of, that I was able to get, you know what I mean? And so, it's almost like when you look at one of these images, it's kind of like that adage of you hear an old song, right? Something that you might have heard 10, 15, 20 years ago, but when you hear that song, it takes you right back to where you were when that song came out. That's what these images in my wallpaper do for me. And I believe that if we surround ourselves with the work that we've done, it's a form of reaffirmation, right? It's a form of motivation, right? And for me, it really does reaffirm my particular why. And hopefully, you can tell by how, even like today, just showing you those few images, it took me right back to when I took them and how excited I was to put them in the collection of possibilities for the next book, because I see them today and I see the struggle that the fish had with the bird, and I see the moon shot and I see the cigar shot, and I'm just as amped about those today, even though some of them were taken years ago. All right, so for me, it's very clear. You understand what I'm saying? It's very specific when I see these images, and like I say, it's important to me. So I say all that to say that if you haven't figured it out already, what's my why? I'm here to create, capture, and produce images that I love, and do it for me. I'm here to create, capture, and produce images I love just for me. Why are you here? What is your why? Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys soon.